I'm gonna chase it, and I'm gonna chase it. I know we can't ignore it, no matter how hard we try. And I'm gonna chase it, and I'm gonna chase it. I know we can't ignore it, no matter how hard we try. Fire in the veins, I fight to gain, breaking all the rules to keep me sane. Living the moment till I die. And I'm gonna chase it, and I'm gonna chase it. I know we can't ignore it, no matter how hard we try. And I'm gonna chase it, and I'm gonna chase it. I know we can't ignore it, no matter how hard we try. No matter how hard we try.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the English Shooting live stream. For you regulars, you know what it's all about, but for anyone new joining, thank you first off. It's an opportunity to talk about all things guns and other things. We do seem to stray at times. Certainly last week we had a good old discussion about cars and watches and sort of Lego. Even we seem to chat about Lego as well, as I'm very into, because I'm a big child. But yeah, you can talk about guns, you can ask questions. There is a chat segment below or to the side of wherever you are. Get involved. The more the merrier. There's a few questions that have already come through, and I will get through to them as soon as possible. We are going to be talking, of course, about this new practical shooting VR training simulator from Blobworks. What a name. But we and Magload features in that. We'll get on to that in a sec, but a quick interjection. You may hear rustling and various noises in the background. No, that's not my my housekeeper, although soon to be. It's actually someone you've probably heard a lot about.
Hello.
This is my fiance Holly, or aka Mrs. English Shooting. You'd like to be known by that, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's a yes. I'll take that. So she's decided to join me for the stream. She's not going to be sort of picking up a pew or anything, but I'm sure there will be various.
I don't know enough about the subjects to have any opinion or.
Yes, yeah, and also we have a previous anti-gunner as well. I've told the story before. What did I do the first night you came round?
Got your shotgun out.
There we go. Like any good guy should. I mean, I thought I'd get it out of the way straight away. Like if she was going to run away from the shotgun, then there was really no point going any further. But Holly has been shooting a number of times with me, and it's a double-edged sword introducing your other half to shooting, because well, you get to do more shooting, but then also they need a gun. You need to buy them ammo. They need their gear, and then it's more match entry fees and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's good. You can go. That's good. Yeah.
I might come back later.
Unless you're just gonna sit on my shoulder for the whole of the time. she's right here. So
I can read it.
Yes, and yes, as I've said, she will most likely give various insults throughout the evening. But don't worry, I'm good at returning them. So yes, the big news, or certainly the big news for myself, Connors, and the whole Magload team, is Magload has gone VR, and we haven't actually. We talk a lot about modern technologies in terms of 3D printing, and obviously the quite significant effect that they have on. On the gun industry, but something that personally I've been saying, I think a lot more off camera, is the potential powers of VR for promoting shooting and getting people into shooting, as well as being valuable training aids. We've looked at the likes of the point blank Point Blank Simulator. Point Blank Simulator, they do feature, so sorry if I've just gone completely blank there, but they do join the stream regularly. Fantastic group of guys, and we've had loads of experience on their equipment, and that is using, it's a laser system using a camera projector, but you do need, you need space for VR, but there's a lot more equipment. It is a hell of a lot cheaper with the laser systems and the cameras and all that, but VR, you can pretty much set them up anywhere. They're very quick now and actually quite compact systems, and they're going to allow a level of immersion into the training that I think is potentially one level above that of the laser simulators and the the projected simulators. So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Magload has sort of partnered up with Blobworks. I do absolutely love that name. They are actually the beginnings of this company are very similar to that of Magload. They embrace 3D printing and 3D designing, but they've turned their hand to VR, and they have put in the Magloaded 1522. So we've been sending them various files and asset, let's just say, for them to be able to completely spec it out. And you can see you've got all the colors. Of course, the best color is yellow when you're talking about Magload. But if I just pause it there, the attention to detail on this is absolutely incredible. You've got the muzzle brake, you've got the Magload carbon fiber handguard, you've got the extensions, the magwell, the release ambi, mag release, and the safety. I believe that's everything on there. That's Magload. So this is, I mean, for us, as a side with Magload, it's fantastic marketing. If people are going to be using this and seeing it, well, it's potentially going to reach more people and sort of reinforce the brand that way. So absolutely fantastic. But also, this is aimed as a very serious training tool, and a lot of people are running Magload. So if you want to be sort of training and familiarize yourself with the exact upgrades and equipment that you're using, then this is just perfect, because a lot of these simulators are very basic in the guns, and you could see as well the choice of optics. I believe this is a Trijicon with a is that a shield RMS on the side, but the detail like this just blows me away. The way it transitions to the magnified scope, between the magnified scope and the red dot, and if you vaguely squint, this could be a picture of like a real life scenario, but you can see the detail again. So it's all fun. You've got the muzzle flash, the magazine's moving, you can drop that, put a new one in, and I love this touch. The follower actually moves. You can see, this is all sort of stuff you wouldn't be necessarily paying attention to how many rounds are visibly in the mag during a competition, but it's stuff that you can see if you need to. They've even got the 50 round drum mag, which is one of my favorite additions to the 1522. Incredibly hard to get now within the UK. These are the Black Machine company ones, but no one is currently importing them. But you can, and with this, now you can really see the benefit. And I'm going to show you another video in a sec to show you sort of how realistic the muscle memory can be for something specifically like speed stills, because speed stills is exactly the same every single time. It's the same stages, same setups. So and you can see they've got them all. The ability to train transitioning, and you've even got the perspective here with the targets obviously let's say getting smaller due to their distance, so you can really train it, and I'll show you why this is going to lend very well to actually reinforcing the muscle memory. I am very interested to see actually with the headset how the sights present themselves, but it is meant to be incredibly realistic, and this might, I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but it gives you a slight insight into my YouTube habits. Yes, I do have a bit of a knack for poker, but anyway, so let's get rid of this. This is the actual bare bones of it. So I believe this is the creator and the designer from Blobworks. So you can see the two screen. That's what they're seeing, and this is the real life. And in a minute, we're going to see a close up of the actual equipment that they're using. But in terms of muscle memory, their hands are exactly in the same place as they would be with a real rifle. And the way that the muzzle is going to move, the way you need to position it, again, specifically for stuff like speed stills, is going to be very, very similar. This is all sort of still in the, I wouldn't even say early development stage. It's fairly matured, and the aim is for this to be released at some point. So we will be getting one. Actually, there's not a huge amount. Let's see, I think it's earlier on where you see it. So for comparison, if you've forgotten what a real gun looks like, there we go. And this is what you're dealing with. So this is the standard controller for the VR. They've made this custom bracket, and that is a conventional forend, that is a conventional stock. So the way you're going to bring up the gun, and in terms of where the stock is going to fit in your shoulder, that's going to be exactly the same. The positioning of your hands is going to be exactly the same. Trigger feel obviously is going to be very different. It's going to be very much based on the button of that controller, but it'd be interesting to see if that could be modified. So if you could adjust it down to the weight of your competition rifle, and again, where your hand is going to be, I can tell you from, I've done more sort of racing VR, it is at a stage already where you are completely immersed to the point where you end up coming off the game sweating. You certainly with the driving, you do get that sense of acceleration. While there are no physical forces on your body, it's very easy to get lost in VR world, and it's only getting better and better. So yeah, we're very very happy to be supporting Blobworks. They are going to be at the Target shooting show, so that is, I think it's the 20th and 21st of November. Aside from the game fair, I think it's the only show that's going to be on this year. Of course, the bless you. So yeah, the British shooting show, Northern shooting show, unfortunately weren't able to go ahead because of COVID. But yeah, the Target shooting show is going to be the only like Target sports show on this year. Magload, we are of course going to be there. We absolutely love that show. It really is our sort of target market, and we absolutely love interacting and getting hands on with our customers. If you're lucky, it's not just the big bags of Haribo. That's the ultimate treat. Trust me. So we've so yeah, we'll be there, and Blobworks will be there as well, and we have asked Mike, the organizer, and he's confirmed for Blobworks to be either next to us or opposite us or very close to our stand. So if you want to come and sort of try before you buy, you will be able to do that in the VR world, and you'll be able to see this firsthand. I'm very, very excited about it. I love VR. It's about time I actually got a VR setup myself, but this will be a good excuse to put it under the company, because it's research and development, right? And the I'm going to talk about something in a second, but we've got big plans, as I keep on saying. I'll get onto that now. First off, Oscar, thank you very much. Your support is much appreciated. As I said, Point Blank Simulator is here, so your sim can be VR also. Oh yeah, you have said various things. I haven't tried it, of course. I've only tried the laser system, but you are for firearm fundamentals only. Once you know how to use your gun, VR is great fun. VR is not good for combat-based training where you need to see your real vest. No, absolutely. I mean, in practical shooting and IPSC and 3-gun, the targets aren't shooting back at you. So it is more about that muscle memory, that training and sort of drilling. Whereas with military, with police, you are going through various scenarios. You're saying the 2 IPSC VR games you have from the Stream Store aren't very good. So looking forward to giving this a go. I think we need you as an in-game VR host. That would be awesome. Awesome / terrifying. Myself being in the VR world, I don't know if the universe could take that. Or I could just cross over. I could be in the real world and in the VR world and conquer all of them. So I do want to say, Mr. Hepworth, your first question, literally the first question of the stream, it's not something we are openly promoting at the moment, although it has been discussed in various groups. But you're a special bunch in more than one way. And you are, of course, the sort of closest fans and supporters of not only what I do with the channel and what the channel does, but also Connor's and Magload. We're sort of intrinsically linked, as it were. So you can be the first sort of wider public to know that Magload is in the process, and therefore myself, Connors, and Paul are in the process of moving. The reason we haven't announced it officially and really shouted about it is because it's not yet complete. It's still very much, it's at the very, very late stages of the solicitors. But until we sign on that dotted line, anything can happen. As I'm sure Holly can attest with moving house personally, things fall through right at the last minute, so we never know. Until we have signed on the dotted line and we've got the keys, we're not going to be shouting about it. We're not saying it's happened because we don't want to disappoint ourselves. We don't want to disappoint you guys. But the long and the short of it is that, well, again, thanks to people like yourselves watching, the company has grown leaps and bounds, and we have quite literally run out of space. We need a lot more space. We need to be more efficient. We're just on top of each other. It's got to the point where we have to move about 50,000 different things to do one job, and then put it all back and move it all around to do another job, and we're always in each other's way. And there's a lot of physical contact in the office, a lot. Not always bad, but yeah, we just need a bigger space. So once that has gone through in whatever guise, let's say, we will have a VR headset. We will most definitely have a version of the Blobworks VR training simulator, and our aim is to not only have it as a bit of fun, to not only have it there as a potential training aid, but also for you to be able to custom configure your gun in VR. So if you're not sure about what colors you want, what color combinations of components or themes of the gun, our plan is to have this sort of VR build your own gun workshop where you can come down, put the headset on, explore the VR world, play around with it, and see a VR digital copy of the gun that you are trying to build up. And of course, it's, you know, we want a VR headset, so it just works all around. So that's one of the big sort of things that we want. We're also going to have a racing simulator set up. That might be in the back office just for us. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, we're all a bit geeky, a bit nerdy. We have various interests, and whilst this will be the home of Magload, it will also become the home of English shooting. There's going to be some Action Air stuff there, most definitely, because, well, Paul Wyborn's there, and we just want to have it like as a cool hangout place as well, to be able to come down to the shop, not just to buy Magload, but to hang out, to have a chat, and to sort of, yeah, just, you know, chew the fat, as it were. Supertaz100, thank you very much again, much appreciated. Oscar Cole, will you be at the game show? I'm not 100% sure. When is it, actually? That's probably the best way to answer that. If it it's the Game Fair, isn't it? Game Fair 2021. I have previously attended it. It is a really nice day out. You don't. It's one of those events. It's very country. You don't necessarily have to be into your shooting. It's probably more country than it is shooting. It's like a country. Well, it's a game fair, isn't it? It's like a country show rather than a shooting show. And it is the 23rd to the 25th of July. So no, that's a big no. Although we could go on the Friday.
We could actually. We could go.
So might potentially go on the Friday. That is a really clashy weekend for me because there is the Lambradish level 3 wealth practical shotgun championship during that weekend, which I am signed up for. I do have a place for, but Holly, last year pre-COVID, it wasn't even last year, it was like 2019 you originally booked it.
I booked it in 2009. No, I booked it early 2020.
So right before COVID, Holly, for my birthday in 2020, booked a weekend away in London for us. But the highlight of that weekend is us attending the Chicken Wing Festival. I am a chicken wing fiend. Like, if I go anywhere to eat and there are chicken wings on the menu, I will have them. Like, it's just like there's no doubt about it. So we obviously COVID happened, we had to postpone it, and the Chicken Wing Festival is that weekend. So that's all booked. We're going up for a romantic getaway up in London.
I'm going to be starving on the Sunday because I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, Holly's one of those really weird people that doesn't like meat. I've tried. Don't worry. But she's a veggie, so we are hoping that there is a vegetarian option there. We can cut some grass off of Hyde Park or something. I'm sure she'll be fine. Rich Weston, thank you very much. Much appreciated as always. Towards the Pinball and Space Invaders machine. Oh, you absolutely know. It's we really want it to be just like a giant man cave, and you will get to see everything. We are going to absolutely document like every step of it. The first time we get the keys, there will be a video, so you'll be very much a part of the creation of this sort of dedicated Magload HQ. So yes, that weekend I am preoccupied, but the 23rd I am free, and I was thinking of maybe moving around. Are we going up on the Friday?
No, the Saturday.
Going up the Saturday.
Yeah.
So technically I could shoot the match on the Friday. Oh no, I can't, because probably wouldn't have a gun to use. That's why I can't shoot it on the Friday. Already had that idea. So no, I mean, maybe go to the game fair instead, but I would love to attend that match. But some things just have to come before. So what are you guys talking about? As you rank up in game, your beard grows bigger and bigger until you unlock Connors as the big beard boss. That absolutely needs to happen. It needs to be like the sort of Callum versus. It needs to be the bearded showdown at the end. That's how you unlock like all the god modes and stuff like that. So you enjoy. Oh no, you're talking about other stuff. David Kiddle, thanks for joining as always. David has been a little loose-lipped recently. Don't worry, David. I'm not going to tell anyone. He likes wearing dresses. No. He's been telling me a few things that are due to come out from Caliber Innovations. Of course, David is part of the Caliber Innovations team, and they're always bringing out really interesting stuff. They, of course, brought out the Glock Not a Glock LBP. They brought in the 22 WMR Kel-Tecs, which were absolutely amazing. Among other things, of course, Caliber Innovations is responsible for the Siskar as well, which is a very popular straight pull rifle, and he's been sharing a few bits here and there of what's coming in. I have been sworn to secrecy, so I'm not gonna break that, but there is going to be well, there was certainly one thing today that is going to blow everyone's minds, something that a lot of people have been waiting for, and we'll have to see. There's a few people trying to bring them out. Caliber just might beat everyone to the post. Clean shave for Kentucky? No, not happening. We're going for the full. Like, what you've got to bear in mind is that before we get to Kentucky, it's going to be 10 days and about 3,500 miles touring around the US. Like, by the end of it, I will probably have the biggest beard I've ever had.
Or you can shave it off and have a race as who grows it quicker.
If you can convince Connors to shave off his
It'd be
beard,
very interesting to see.
that's like harnessing. That's like pulling the sword.
Who has the most testosterone?
I thought you were going to say testicles then. So like, there's a number of ways to figure that one out. But yeah, if you were to convince Connors to shave his beard, that's like pulling the Excalibur out of the stone.
Someone did it.
Well, someone did, but who has that? Who has that magical powers? I don't know. Not even his fiance has the power to get him to shave his beard. You have the power to get me to trim my beard, but not to shave it. So, you know, whoever holds the power of the beard, you know, does this mean that, like, oh God, I know what I've started now. People around shows are just going to go around pulling Connor's beard, and someone one day is going to pull it and it's going to fall right off and they're going to have the power of the beard. Don't go round pulling Connor's beard. If you want to live a long and prosperous life, prosperous life.
Cypriot version of a fake Father Christmas.
I'm gonna get so much shit tomorrow. Luckily, Connors has enough of me during the day that if he's not on the stream, he won't watch them. So I won't get one. I didn't say anything. I didn't even laugh on the outside. So yeah, don't get me in trouble. Don't. Did you see the? Oh, that's actually one of the topics. So let's move on. Instead of talking about Connors being a fake Greek Father Christmas, let's get on to actually quite a big piece of news. Well, there's some other bigger pieces of news that we will get onto, but thank you, Jay, for bringing that up. It's a nice segue. Of course, some quite humorous and funny and interesting, let's say, news this week was the creation of the Block 19 Lego Arms gun maker ordered to stop selling semi-automatic pistol that looks like a toy. Yes, this is, like, at first you might think it's a render or it's fake. This is a fully functional serial numbered Glock 19 in a, let's say, Lego camo. Now, as far as I'm aware, Lego has specific patents on the size and shape and configuration of their blocks. I don't actually think, like, Lego to me doesn't come across as actually an anti-gun company, right? Because still today they make figures and sets that involve guns, and there's so many, like, even Apple have changed the gun on the gun emoji to a water pistol, right? So if Lego were going to be anti-gun, they would just stop making the gun accessories, right? So I don't think they're necessarily anti-gun, and I don't think the cease and desist has anything to do with it actually being a firearm. I genuinely believe it's because they're using the Lego, the Lego design, and the Block 19 is most definitely in the Lego font. And as you can see, they've made a site using actual Lego. So I would put money on it being the sort of infringement of the patent which has led to the cease and desist, rather than Lego not wanting to be associated with a firearm. However, the sort of usual anti-gun rhetoric has come out. So there was a few things, but basically the usual stuff of, oh yeah, but what if a kid got hold of it? And you're like, why does it matter that it's covered in Lego, right? A child should not be getting a hold of a gun, period. And then they go, yeah, but this is more attractive to a kid. Why don't what if they confuse it as a toy? Again, the gun shouldn't be left out so that a child can go and pick it up. It should be locked away on somebody's person or in somebody's supervision. Like, if you're just leaving around your Glocks, whether it's covered in Lego or not, that's a bad thing. Like, you shouldn't do it. Guns should be securely stored or at least in eyesight, let's just say. But yeah, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. If they were legal in the UK, I would have absolutely have picked one up, and of course if I had a certificate. So numerous hurdles that would have to be overcome beforehand. But yes, I I think it's great. Like, could you imagine the fun and the other Lego accessories you could end up bolting to it? It would be immense. But yeah, this was doing the rounds on Facebook. This is in fact a Telegraph article if you want to go and watch it. But it did quite tickle me, I will say. And I'm moving up in the world, of course. You know, my fiance's come round, so I'm not on the beer tonight. She's brought round a lovely bottle of Prosecco, which did have ice in it, but it's melted because it is bloody hot. I am sweating my testicles off. I did even consider just doing this in my pants, like having a top on. Definitely no one wants to see that. But yeah, remove my jeans and free the little guys. But no, because it would be sod's law that I completely forget about it. Stand up and you'll get a nice view of my trunk. It's already. I've only had a little bit and it's already taken effect. Vote Callum to use a Block 19 in Kentucky. Done. Don't need to vote on it. Get me a Block 19 and I will shoot it in Kentucky. Yes. So yeah, why would I say, oh, VR gang, right? You should maybe they should add the Block 19 into that simulator. That would be awesome. If Connor shaves off his beards, you're unsubscribing. Blasphemy. Yeah, I mean, the hordes of women would be so bitterly disappointed. You know, he gets so many love letters about that beard. You know, I really think there would be a countrywide, like international wide depression, a day of mourning if that beard was to ever go. Leon O'Grady, I mean, it also looks like a toy. Like, it does look like a toy. I'm not going to deny that it looks like a toy. It's like the other gun. It was the Nerf gun, wasn't it? It was the Glock that was doing the rounds as well. Glock Nerf gun. Let's bring that up. This was a little bit more serious though, right? Because it wasn't just a company having a bit. But by the way, that Block 19 you could buy. It was a genuine company selling them at like a $200 markup from the price of a standard Glock, I think. But this sort of takes it to a more sinister level. This was actually recovered by I think it was an American police force. I mean, I am gonna say it does look absolutely insane. Like, it looks cool. I'd absolutely love to have one. So all they've done is they've got one of these sort of adapter frames for them. There's loads of different ones. I think Fab Defense do one. This may even be the Fab Defense one. I'm not gonna. There we go. Yeah, drug raid seizes Glock 19 disguised as a toy. This is where the sort of sinister. This is where it gets a bit more sinister. A drug dealer being in possession of something like this. They only have it configured like this to be able to disguise it, to be able to go and, not be detected or give them let's say a heads up, or some sort of advantage if they were to ever use it. I still think it looks really cool. And yeah, it looks like, what else do they have? I'm going to find some really I'm not going any further. Like, just going randomly onto Google Images on a live stream doesn't usually end well. But yeah, I think it's cool. And yes, it looks like a gun. But if it's in a lawful gun owner's hands, it's a licensed firearm, somebody that has met the barrier needed in whichever country you're in, why not? Again, if it looks like a toy, it doesn't matter if it looks like a toy or looks like a real gun. A child shouldn't just be able to walk up to it regardless and use it, right? So yeah, that was another interesting one that did the rounds. Magload could make a Block 1522. Yes, but then Lego's just going to cease and desist, and we've already got that from KFC, unfortunately. Oh, the DeWalt AR-15. Don't you mean the Chris Vector that is used down at Silverstone Shooting Centre? But yeah, there's loads of different disguises. Well, I saw, I think it's an airsoft gun. Someone's made like an airsoft BB gun that looks like a Milwaukee drill. That's pretty cool. I think you can actually go and buy that straight off of the shelves. So there's been a few donations this evening, which I'm grateful for. It does all go help run the channel, new equipment, new things, bigger videos, better videos. So really appreciated. But there is other ways in which you can support the channel. First of all, you can hit the like button. That's free. It only takes like a fraction of a second, and nothing bad could potentially happen apart from this channel and these videos reaching more people, getting more people into the sport. So please do take a second to just do that. If you're new, you're enjoying what you see, maybe not enjoying what you see, but you're enjoying the video overall, then consider subscribing. That also helps as well. And of course, the channel does have its own merch line. You can have this wonderful modelled, maybe I should get Holly to model it instead. I'm not taking it off though because my hair's a mess. Don't worry, you just go back to your YouTubes, it's fine. So yeah, you can get the hat. It's EnglishShooting.org, but there is some new work, some new merch. I can't remember if we've talked about the stickers, but there is an official English Shooting sticky bolt sticker. So actually made by the wonders of Sticky Bolt. You can go and get that. Or new edition. No, that isn't a smaller sticker. That is a new patch. And I know how much you guys love your patches, and I've wanted these. Comes with obviously the back, so you can stick that to whatever and then remove it. But that is it's Velcro backed, so usual sort of hook Velcro, and I've already got some on my bag. Let's try and zip it up. I'll show you. So great bag, by the way. If you're looking for a new rucksack, the 511, I can't remember what model it is, but the 511 bag's absolutely brilliant. I give my bags a hell of a lot of abuse. I've had this over 2 years now. But what I love about this bag is it's got Velcro. So obviously repping the IPSC, that's the older English Shooting patch. Only a few of those are remaining. I should probably put another order in for them. And of course Magload and the new English Shooting patch. So this patch was actually specifically designed for this bag, because as you can see, there's only a small bit of Velcro there, so the big patches can't be used up top, but the smaller ones can. So yeah, if you want to support the channel and actually get something to show for it, other than my beautiful face, you can head over to EnglishShooting.org, to which you'll be greeted to this. I mean, it's not really that informative to anybody watching right now, because of course you know that we live stream every Thursday 7:30. But there is merch. So you've got the new PVC morale patch. They're 35 by 35 millimeters. You've got the new sticker. You've got the older patch, and there's loads of other stuff. You can even have a mini Connors. You can rub the beard for luck before a stage, guaranteed for an extra 10%. You may even win. You've got the Magloaded 1522, so if you can't wait for it to be in VR form, you can have it in sticker form. Of course, the caps. You've got other Magload stickers, and obviously the patch. 3 Circles, absolutely amazing book if you're interested in sort of training your mind, as it were, for practical shooting or even general shooting. It's a really good guide overall. Where did I put that patch? It's gone. No, I didn't put it on the bag. Anyway, quick slight interjection. I've just realised that patch I was showing you has disappeared into the ether. God knows where that's gone. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find it after the stream. Yeah, so brilliant book, run by John Axe, a really like high level 3-gunner and practical shooter. Goes all over the world. Magload caps as well, just loads of stuff. But it all does go and help run the channel, help reach new people and get new people into the sport, which is what we're all about. And I honestly, like, I put it down for 2 seconds. I didn't put it back up there. I didn't put it. Oh, it attached. I didn't put it on the bag. It attached itself. It was trying to hijack. So yeah, if you want a little, put me the right way. There we go. Little English Shooting patch. There we go. Official merch. There we go. Plugging done. Although I can't. Go on, stand up. There we go. I can't promise that I won't plug a bit more Magload later on. There are some new goodies coming out on Magload very, very soon. No KFC patch. No, because I don't want to get another cease and desist letter. I'm not that brave. I do have... We actually have like 10 of the patches. I have them on my patch wall in the office, which will most definitely be coming with us. But yeah, no KFC. I have a KFC patch on my shotgun rig, so you know I've only got a limited amount of space there, David. Don't worry too much. I'm still supporting the KFC love. Did you see Priti Patel's statement to coincide with the banning lever release / Mars, where she said they've all been associated serious crime and violence, they're lying to support their ban? Yes, because that's actually one of the big bits of news and topics that I wanted to discuss this evening. I did put a post out on EnglishShooting. So first of all, I was made aware of this. Facebook's being Facebook. So there was this post, which of course you can't see because Facebook's put a load of gumph in the way. Can I just force? There we go. So this was released from the Home Office. So I don't know if you're talking about the same thing, but this isn't specifically from Priti Patel, it's from the Home Office. So this was published, as you can see, on the 14th of July. Ban on knives, firearms and offensive weapons come into force. A tough ban on a wide range of knives, weapons and firearms come into force today as part of government action to tackle violent crime and serious violence. And of course, you know, apparently, I mean, they've given us a little bit more information here of what exactly a zombie knife is, although that knife right there, it literally looks like, well, it does look like a locking knife, but I don't believe locking knives are actually prohibited. You're just not able to like carry them around without a good reason. But literally the only reason that knife's in there, from what I can see, is the fact that it's green. So does this mean like literally you can have no more green knives? Because Paul Wyborn is absolutely screwed if that's... Actually, Paul with an LBP should be classed as a zombie offensive weapons, because he is bloody wicked with a gun, lightning fast, and he's always covered in green. But the thing that sort of really takes the biscuit with this statement is the first paragraph. It is a full statement, but this is really all you need to know. Cyclone knives, spiral knives, and other rapid fire rifles are among those covered by the ban, all of which have been associated with serious violence in communities across the country, right? All of which. They are including the rapid fire rifles, whatever definition they're using for that, I really don't know, but they're calling them rapid fire rifles, all of which have been associated with serious violence in communities across the country. No. That's not in any way, shape or form accurate. This was raised numerous times during the various consultations and discussion between the various stakeholders and government. Mars and lever release, which is what they mean by rapid fire rifles. Again, you know, I was getting excited, like could we have owned full auto or like semi-auto? No, they were referring to Mars and lever release. Mars and lever release rifles have never been used in crime. Not only have they never been used in crime, there is no actual evidence to suggest that they are even remotely desirable, apart from being just firearms, to criminals. And this was the biggest lie of them all when it came down to the Offensive Weapons Act. They've never been used, right? Of course, we do have an issue with knives, right? I get that. Banning ones with the word zombie written on them and ones that have the radioactive sign and are green, is that going to reduce crime? No. And actually somebody made a very good point about why there was this sort of explosion of zombie knives. Because they are cheap tat, right? Usually the zombie knives with all the writing on them and the green and the radioactive, you can usually pick them up from Amazon for like £2.50. So I think it was more of the fact that they were at a price point that was attractive, rather than the fact that they want them because they are so jaggedy and and serrated and so on and so forth. So yeah, like lie and concern number one. That is just actually completely untrue. And what a lot of people that have messaged me and sort of said to me since that release, and another release or another statement that I'll get onto in a second, is that they're trying to save a bit of face, right? They are way over budget. I can't remember the specific numbers. There is a whole video on it, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I think they budgeted about £1 million for the compensation for the Mars and Lever releases. The final figure was actually around 3.8 million. And reports, like credible reports that have come through to me, are estimating there are still 1,000 Mars rifles out there, which if you take the near £2,000 per rifle compensation that they were offering, is an additional £2 million on top of the £3.8 million save face. But to add to the Home Office statement, the NRA of the UK released a statement as well, which confirms this worry that there are guns that are completely unaccounted for, which is it sort of makes things a little bit pointless, and it also poses a significant danger to lawful gun owners, right? Because as certificate holders, you want to be within the law. You want to stay within the law, and the last thing you want to do is end up in possession of a gun that you're not meant to be in possession of. So the NRA released this statement, which is, and I mean, bearing in mind that this is the National Rifle Association. This is the national governing body for sort of target sports in the UK. The UK PSA are obviously the national governing body for practical shooting, but the NRA is the largest sort of shooting organisation that actually sort of shoots, as it were, as part of a membership. And for them to come out with a statement, like, things are serious. So the prerequisite to all of this, and the precursor to all of this, is that the Offensive Weapons Bill had various stages. So there was the Offensive Weapons Bill when it received royal assent on the 16th of May 2019. It then became an act. It became law. But there were actually various elements of this act that didn't come into full force until today. Yesterday. Today or yesterday? Yesterday. So it was midnight on Wednesday that they came into full force. So there was the, I don't believe, does it actually go into this? Does it go into it here? I can't read fast enough to have a look, and I'm not going to not go through it. So basically it is, the first stage was that the offensive weapons, i.e. the Mars and Lever release, couldn't be transferred. So as of the receiving royal assent and as of the 16th of May, the rifles could no longer be sold, manufactured or transferred. But those are very different to possessing, and there's also various levels of possession. There's like the physical possession of it, and there's also like the legal definition of possession of it, and there's various other sort of niches within that. So basically, as of the 16th of May, it was not an offence to be in possession of the gun, because otherwise all of the certificate holders that have them on their certificates would be violating a Section 5 or committing a Section 5 offence. But they couldn't sell it or transfer it. They could take it to a gun room and dispose of it. They could take it to the police and dispose of it. But obviously everyone was waiting for the compensation. The compensation got rolled out. All of the guns got handed in. And then the real date of where everything came into force was on Wednesday, the 14th of July. And 2 days before, so, I mean, the NRA are usually a bit late to the party. This is, it's sort of early by 2 days. Well, I mean, this was in the evening, so it really only gave you the 1 day to be able to go and do it. And what they're saying is that, as of, I think they specifically say, as of midnight Wednesday 14th, it would be a Section 5 prohibited firearm and will attract an automatic minimum 5-year jail term. I've also heard numbers that specifically for the Mars and Lever releases, like that could actually be 10 years. But I've heard various things from different sources. But what the thing that is really worrying is, let me just find it. The NRA knows of 4 that have either not been surrendered or have been surrendered after the 9th of March without compensation. So they know of cases where people haven't handed them in, mainly because people were probably not aware of it, right? And again, if you go back to that previous video, there was a huge disparity between the number that they predicted that were going to be handed in and the actual number that was. There was a huge difference. And this report that I had that we could potentially be looking at 1,000 unhanded, like 1,000 not handed in, could be very true. Like that does seem actually quite likely, and potentially what that also means is that there are 1,000 up to 1,000 people that could be made criminals, well, have literally been made criminals overnight, and are, if they are found in possession of these guns, could be facing 5 years 5 years in prison. So it's, you all know you first all know what I think of the act anyway, but we've sort of lost that one. We have to sort of concede that, well, it's over, right? The guns have been banned. They are now Section 5. But certainly what we can look at and be very objective about is how was this handled? And I don't think this was handled anywhere near to the level of, let's say, professionalism that you would expect when confiscating and compensating for guns. Like, it's well known that the police and the Home Office and neighbours had absolutely no clue where any of these guns were. And I know so many people say, yeah, but RFDs, if RFDs were in possession of them, then the police aren't necessarily going to know what guns are in stock unless they've done an audit. But RFDs are a much smaller group of people. They are in much more frequent contact with the police and are a lot easier for the police to get in contact with, right? If the police can't get into contact with an RFD, there's sort of bigger issues going on. But let's not forget that when you buy a gun in the UK, you have to notify the police. Not only do you have to notify the police, the gun shop that you've bought it from has to notify the police. And they have to notify them with the make, model, and serial number and caliber of that gun. So what are they doing with that data, right? If it's not being put into a database to be able to track exactly what guns people have, then what is the point? It's quite obvious that they haven't been handling that data correctly. Otherwise, each firearms licensing department should quite easily be able to go through the list and type in Mars or Caledonian Arms or, VZ58 and see and compile a list of exactly where these guns were and specifically contact those people. But what we have seen are mass emails, mass letter bombing, not like that, mass letter campaigning from the police. I mean, Hampshire, I believe, sent out a letter to every single firearm certificate holder within Hampshire in an attempt that it would reach all of the Mars owners. Royal Mail is not that consistent, all right? It's things get lost, things go missing. And when you're talking about the consequences of being people having or being sentenced to 5 years in prison, right? You want to ensure that the effort to contact all the owners has been a little bit more than a first class stamp. We've seen a complete lack of communication, it took them nearly 2 years to get round to doing the compensation and actually take the guns off of people's hands. So a lack of communication, I think a lack of organisation around it. And again, all for guns that have never been used in crime, right? And I dread to think how many people are going to come out of this with criminal records, right? Because let's say somebody has, when would it have had to have been? Let's say last year. So they've got 4 years left until their renewal. Like, there could be cases where in 4 years' time, FEOs come round for a renewal and they start seeing Mars and reliever releases in people's safe, right? And then what do they do? Like, if you're not on the internet, if you don't have email, if you're not sat there refreshing the news page on the Home Office, how would you know, right? Because there's certainly been no definite attempt to contact specific owners of these, so it's a really dangerous situation. The NRA obviously think it's worthy of a statement, and I mean they really do urge it's like it's not like, oh, this is just a heads up. It's like, guys, this is potentially really serious. But something interesting, and I don't know the legal connotations or the legal meanings of this because I'm not a legal expert. But they're saying basically, if obviously this was a few days ago now, the time to do this has now passed. But anyone in possession of a Mars or lever release rifle or another rifle that automatically ejects the spent case, or one other than one in .22 caliber, should take it to the nearest police station as soon as possible. Of course, completely agree with that. State in writing that you are surrendering the firearm under duress and insist on a receipt. Like, that might be actually a really mundane statement. It might not really mean, but it's like under duress. Like, I mean, I can only see what that really means. Like, I don't know, it just seems a bit odd, that statement. So maybe anyone who has a bit more legal expert than I, legal experience or knowledge, could shed some light on exactly why they've potentially done that and why they've gone with that wording. But yeah, what you guys say? God, I can stream. I'm not. The stream seems stable. Nope, still good. I can finally have a drink and relax now. Wait, the restriction is only on self-unloading rifles. If you made a rifle where gas operation moves the BCG up to a detent requiring manual ejection would that be okay? Well, that would basically be like a straight pull, wouldn't it? Moves up to a detent, require manual action. So the manual action to chamber around isn't the issue, because obviously you have self-loading rifles, which are and apart from in .22 rimfire, are Section 5, but the way that they got around it was the self-extracting. So basically, yeah, but then it is still a self-loading, because like the Mars and lever release were still a self-loading because they were both like anyway. It gets really nitty. It really does come down to what the letter of the law is, exactly what it says. But don't worry, like the likes of Southern Gun Company are already on it. They're already coming up with ingenious new ARs and mechanisms. I give it a year or two before there is something similar to the Mars that completely bypasses all the law. And again, that's, when I say bypass, is well within the law. It's just not banned by the current definitions. And this is again what makes things so utterly pointless, is they've spent potentially tens of millions of pounds. All it's going to come up with, all it's going to take is one bright spark to have a good idea of sort of how to fit everything within the rules and laws again, and then that, the tens of millions of pounds spent getting rid of the Mars and lever releases just, it's literally just spunked up the wall. All those missing are now with Section 5 dealers or made deactivated, maybe. Yeah, that's a point. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. Perhaps, they're not in illegal possession anymore. If they have been deactivated to current standards, or they've been surrendered to Section 5 dealers, and the Section 5 dealers are holding on to them, then yeah, that would account for some. But having 1,000 of them, I mean, I do get the idea of, people saying, well, look, I don't want this taken off of me. And I'm sure there are people that would go, I'm not interested in the £2,000 that you're going to pay me in compensation. I want to keep this rifle. And also, sort of as a statement, you go and have it deactivated to be able to hold on to it as you're not having it. But then the police sort of win both ways, because then you've, disabled that Mars rifle and you've also saved them £2,000. I can see a few people doing that, but potentially 1,000 people doing that, giving up £2,000 compensation. I don't like. I don't think. I mean, that's really I think the counter to it being with a Section 5 dealer or being deactivated is a Section 5 dealer is not going to pay £2,000 for them. Like the guns are in essence worthless, even to a Section 5 dealer, and obviously become relatively worthless with deactivation. So is potentially 1,000 people going to give up £2,000 compensation? I don't think that's the case. Maybe a few dozen people would have done that. I could believe, but not 1,000 if that's the case. Read the law. It bans all rifles that uses gas to directly unload or uses gas to provide stored energy to unload the rifle bar to rimfire. It's quite wide ranging and intentionally so if you're talking about gas, why couldn't you go back to like almost like a Mars and have like 2 triggers? You could have like an unloading trigger, which, you know, like pretty much like an underlever but in trigger form. You have a trigger to actually unload the cartridge. How would that work? You unload the cartridge. You'd need like 3 triggers. Or no, you could have like a Mars with 2 triggers. So you could have like 1 trigger to unload it, and then 1 to release it, and then the same one again to fire. Like a 2 trigger Mars. That would be pretty cool. They changed the knife law. The change to knife law have been ridiculously precise in many parts, but the bans for Mars and lever release have been very broad. Clearly a message to say stop finding loopholes. Yes, like that is sort of the modus operandi of the Home Office and the lawmakers when it comes round to guns. It's like, if you keep pushing it, we will widen the potential bans. I still think there's going to be various ways that people can get around it, and we'll come up with, again, sort of ingenious mechanisms to provide us higher rate of fire guns. It's, you know, look at the States. Like, look at the invention of the binary trigger or the force reset trigger. I know Daniel's probably just had an aneurysm with me even just saying that. But you know, the bump fire stocks. You know, the thing is, within the shooting community, there's a very high population of engineers and designers, right? Because it's that sort of mechanical mind, that engineer mind. And you end up with a lot of smart people, you know, very motivated to sort of stick 2 fingers up. Like, that's pretty much all Southern Gun Company do. Just finding very ingenious and clever ways to sort of go, I mean, Alan Westlake, right? Alan Westlake, I have so much respect for him. Like, if you ever meet him at a show or even see him, you would write him off as an old boy, right? As an old fud. He couldn't be further from it, right? Go and watch the interview of him at the Target Shooting Show. He was like, they took away my guns, so I found a way to still have them. You know, that's pretty much the invention of the long barrel pistol. Literally, Alan Westlake sticking 2 fingers up to the Home Office, being like, what are you going to do? You know, like, try and define what a rifle or a pistol is. You know, go on, try it. So, and you know, you get clever people like that, highly motivated. You're going to end up with new and wonderful mechanisms. Your idea is to use a CO2 gas canister to extract the round, and then the normal buffer spring to chamber the next round. Well, technically, you are storing gas, and it is gas doing it, but it would be specific on the wording whether it's using the gas from the round to do it rather than other stored gas. Electrically powered actuation, that would be, so you almost get like an airsoft gun slash with a proper rifle. Alan Westlake is a legend, honestly. He is. Yeah, go and watch that interview. It is like, type in Alan Westlake Target Shooting Show. It's just an incredible interview. He's so sort of candid in it, and well, we wouldn't have long barrel pistols without him. Talking. What else? Let's have a look. I've been very kindly requested from Paul Wyborn to make you all aware of a match. So I get a lot of questions about where you can start shooting, where you can start shooting action air. So I've done a number of videos on action air in the past, and you guys seem to enjoy it. And I do believe, I'm a firm believer that action air is a gateway drug into practical shooting. You don't need a license to do it. The barrier to entry, both in the legislation and of course cost, is a lot lower when it comes down to action air. And XPSC, which is a club that Paul, his brother and father, run. I believe they founded it. I might be incorrect with that, but I believe they founded it, but they certainly are a big part of running it. They do various level 1 matches, which is designed to sort of help get people into the sport and experience practical shooting. So I'm going to put a link in the chat box. Paul really doesn't know what he's getting himself into with this, but yeah, I'll put a link in the chat box. There we go. That is the practice score link for the match. So if you are interested in trying out action air, trying out practical shooting, meeting up with the XPSC guys, then follow that link. All of the details will be there, and you'll be able to sign up to the match and do it. Again, action air is a great way to get into shooting, great way to get into practical shooting. It gets you on the roadmap to getting your firearm or shotgun certificate, so I cannot recommend it highly enough. And the XPSC boys are like the shit in the UK. I mean, Paul is arguably the best action air shooter in the country, and certainly one of, if not the best in the world. That's why we're very proud to have him as part of the Magload team. So if you want to go and shoot with the best, you want to learn with the best, and you want to experience it, go and sign up for that match. I believe they have gear that anyone can borrow. Might need to check that first, but I believe you can just turn up there and give it a go. But check with them beforehand. In other news, oh shit, I shut my emails, didn't I? In a vain attempt to get connection back, a large proportion of what I'm going to refer to in a second. Oh god, it has gone. Abort. Well, 1 minute. I just need to have a rejig of my desktop because it has it's dumped everything on the same screen, which is not good. Makes things very messy. And let me get the emails that I wanted. God, I was so prepared tonight, and then my Mac just decided to nope. Holly's saying it's her fault. Why is it your fault?
Because I'm not normally here, I'm jinxing it.
You're a bad omen. Well, that's fair. Holly's never joining us again for a stream. No, it would be better when we're in our own place that actually has stable Wi-Fi, strong and stable Wi-Fi, right? And what I probably need to do is get some sort of cooling deck for the Mac. She is struggling, poor girl. Anyway, there has been an email that's been doing the rounds. Actually, the rounds to all of the RFDs in the UK, and it's created a lot of concern, worry, and speculation. And I like a good old bit of news and investigating, so I buried straight into it. And this is the Guns Down Unblade organisation, and what they decided to do is send an email to every single RFD in the UK asking them specific questions. The long and the short of it is that it's it's a gun prevention organisation, a knife crime, a gun crime prevention organisation, a knife crime prevention organisation, and it spurred from Dunblane, and actually the Unblade, it's UNNBLADL. So it's getting too late. It's too hot. It's too late. UNNBLADE. Woo! Got there at the end. That the Unblade is actually an acronym for Dunblane, and this was when I knew things were probably going to get very silly very quickly. Why are you using an acronym for Dunblane for something that is meant to be about knife crime? Like that. Like, first of all, that's your first That doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, basically this person was 8 months pregnant at the time. Dunblane happened. They were deeply and profoundly affected by it. And of course, 25 years later, they decided to then do something about it. Better late than never, I suppose. But what got people really in a tiz are the questions that they asked the RFDs. And a lot of people seem to think that it was phishing, right? It was a phishing expedition to try and obtain the security details of RFDs that could be potentially used to then, you know, break in and steal a load of guns. So the questions were, what security measures do you have in place in your building to prevent burglaries? First of all, no RFD is ever going to give that information out. It's just never going to happen. Like, even as an FAC holder, you should never give that information out. The only other person that should have any idea of what the security arrangements are in your property are your licensing police force, are the firearms licensing department, and your FEO. Has your building been broken into previously? A little bit more mundane, but you know, oh yeah, we get broken into all the time. You know, they're not going to say shit like that, are they? If it has, what was stolen? Again, that could be a police matter, not necessarily going to hand it out. Have you ever been a victim of crime involving firearms? That's maybe a bit more of a sort of, you know, down the line question. Are you aware of current firearms laws? Like, this is when you start to get the feel that this person sort of is in over their head. They don't have a lot of knowledge or experience within firearms and firearms laws, which makes them very dangerous. I mean, look at the gun control network, and I can't remember the woman's name. I have more important things to fill my head with. But anyway, the person that runs that, she hasn't got a clue, right? Which makes her very, very dangerous. Are you trained in firearms usage? Oh yeah, you know, in terms of being aware of current firearms law, yes, they're a registered firearms dealer. They are going to know a thing or two about firearms law. Are you trained in firearms usage? Probably. That's probably something that you can pretty much assume. You can assume being a registered firearms dealer. Does the increase in firearm crime worry you? For a licensed legal firearms dealership, probably not, because there is no correlation between lawful owners and illegal firearms, as we all know. Have you ever thought about where the guns you sell end up? Now, for any RFD or gun shop that sells their guns to Daniel Smerald, I am sure they have had a thought or two of exactly what ends up happening with that gun and where that gun ends up. But for any other RFD or any other customer, no. Because as a registered firearms dealer, you are selling to licensed individual. You are selling to people that have been highly vetted by the police and given a certificate. Like, where else are they going to end up other than in the police approved and assessed safe that is going to be stored at their property, right? Or down the range. It does show a level of ignorance in these questions alone. Does it bother you that information on how to make your own firearm is freely available on the internet? Right, yeah, I could see some gun owners, some firearms dealerships worried about that, mainly loss of business. If people are printing their own guns, right? And I'm not just talking about the UK, because that, of course, would be illegal unless you have the right certification and licenses. But like in the US, like that could actually be a genuine business concern. If people are able to just print their own guns, why are they going to go to a gun shop? But yeah, of course, an RFD could have concerns. I have concerns to some extent of how easy it is for criminals to be able to 3D print guns. We've seen the first conviction. We've seen various busts on 3D printing gun factories in the UK. It's an issue, and it's a growing issue. Would you ever consider not selling guns? Again, as a registered firearms dealership, that's probably very unlikely. What is your policy on purchasing a firearm? Like, they need to have a certificate, you know? So anyway, you can begin to see where this is heading. Now, and I'll show you the... it just sort of seems to get... better and better, really. Then I found their page. So they've got a Facebook page that you can go and see. the story of gun number 6 and all its legal guns in Britain doesn't start with the first shooting. And let me bring up the BBC link so that you can see it. So this is the article. So I actually, after seeing all of this thing, let's go a little bit more into the page, because it does get a little bit more ridiculous. That's a new post that I haven't had a chance to read, but so like this just got me raging, right? So today I've contacted Kit Malthouse MP to ask the following. Now, Kit was involved with the I believe the Offensive Weapons Bill. He has something to do with firearms within the Home Office, I believe. What measures are in place to prevent illegal firearms from being shipped to the UK? Yep, I think that's actually a pretty genuine question. Are these measures effective? Again, pretty genuine question. You might want to inquire to, what's the predicted success rate in stopping them? Are we stopping 10% or are we stopping 90%? That would be something to find out. Have you ever been? Oh no, wait. Are these measures effective? How are these measures effective? Are you able to back your answer up with data? Again, actually, so far, you're going for it. Fair enough. Have you ever been a victim of crime involving firearms? Does the increase of firearm crime worry you? Well, as an MP, it probably should. Does it bother you that information of how to make your own firearms is freely available on the internet? Why are small caliber .22 not banned? Right, this for me was the moment that I realised that this person has absolutely no understanding of firearms law within the UK. What guns you can own, what you can use them for. Why would you be concerned about why small caliber .22? First of all, I want to know what a small caliber .22 is. It's either a small caliber rifle or it's a .22 rifle. You don't get different sized .22s, not in terms of the caliber. Anyway, but if they're worried about small caliber .22s not being banned, has anybody told them about, I don't know, a 357, a 308, a 223, a 338 Lepore, a 50 BMG? God knows what their reaction is going to be when they see that. Shotguns are legally owned and used for sporting activities and vermin control. Are you not worried that these firearms could be used to carry out a similar crimes to that of Dunblane? Yes, likewise, you could go and strap a load of explosives to a truck and drive it into a populated city. Or you don't even need the explosives. You could just take a truck for a destructive path through a populated city, right? Yeah, any object could be used to commit something similar of that of Dunblane, right? Baseball bat, a knife, a golf club, So yeah, you can very much see where this is heading. There's various, these again are all the questions that they put towards all the firearms dealer. The aim of Guns Down Unblade is to make our streets a safer place and look at the causes which that would reduce the possibility of people committing or becoming the victim of crime in the first place. So after I went through this whole page, there's loads of other stuff as well. After I went through it all, I thought, right, I just need to email this person, and I was ready, right? I was ready to get the camera out and make a video and just shoot this person down in flames, right? But then I thought, well, hang on a minute, right? I've got to be the voice of reason for once. I'm sure many people have already bitten her head off. It's quite clear that she doesn't understand firearms law or have any experience. And this is something actually I do quite a lot when I meet people that are anti-gun. And in my experience, there are two types of people that are anti-gun. There are people that know full and well what they are saying is completely untrue. They have an agenda. They want to achieve something regardless of the fact or the logic. And they just want to ban more guns. They're not going to be reasoned with. They're not going to be mitigated, or their opinions are not going to be changed, right? It's set in stone. They are a raging anti. There's not much point unless you want a bit of an argument in interacting with them. However, the majority of people, and I've got many different stories, many different occasions where I've met these people, these kinds of people, they are anti-gun through ignorance, right? They just simply don't understand our laws, the firearms culture, the firearms community, and really what firearms ownership is about. And those people should not be treated like the first, right? The former. You should actually embrace that as an opportunity to not convert someone, but to change their mind. If their opinion is formed through ignorance rather than just sort of willful neglect of the fact, then you should try and engage them, to educate them, to try and get them to see what actually the real situation is, not from basing their opinions on the misinformation in the media, but to tell them exactly what it is and to give them a balanced view. And that's the approach that I took with I believe her name it's Caroline, who started this organization. And her reactions, I was going to go through pretty much all of the emails so far. I'm probably going to make this into a separate video, so keep an eye out for that. I really do think we should be more willing to engage in conversation with these people. Some say there's no point, but if I take her replies of her email, as being honest, it might have been very productive. Because she's pretty much come and said, look, I didn't know all of that. I explained to her that actually lawful ownership only makes an infinitesimal amount of the percentage of overall firearm crime. There are only around 20 deaths a year from firearms in the UK. The outright majority of them are committed with illegal guns. So it's like you're looking here, versus knife crime, because she's also looking at knife crime. So in London last year, there were 100 deaths due to knife crime in London alone, right? Whereas we had like 20 deaths due to guns. So if you want to make the streets safer, if you want to prevent the loss of life, actually focusing on the knife crime is going to yield a much better result and be a lot more effective. Right, so the crime and the death rate is much lower with firearms. Firearms crime and deaths by firearms are much smaller than the mainstream media would allow you to believe here in the UK. So first of all, you might want to be focusing on the knives. Then second of all, you seem to be focusing on lawful owners, right? So even out of the small amount of gun crime and firearm deaths that we have in the UK, an even smaller amount of those are done to legal guns. So if you really are set on reducing the amount of firearms deaths and firearm offences, what you want to be looking at is predominantly the illegal importation and smuggling of firearms from Europe, because that is still the single greatest cause or source of illegal firearms. Gun number 6, the famous gun number 6, and again I now bring up the article. So this, let's just widen that a little bit. So the gun of number 6, it's been passed around so many times, and this is where the quote comes from, right? And this article, it's ridiculous. It's typical BBC, right? Let's see if I can find the quote. Maybe it's further on. Here we go. So this is where she got that quote. But the story of gun number 6 and all the illegal guns in Britain doesn't start with the first shooting. Really, it starts with Dunblane. You can go and check out this article if you want. It never makes that connection, right? All it does is it prefaces this article with Dunblane. It sings the sob story, Dunblane, get all the anti-guns on the side, get all the public on the side. Like, we don't want this again, do we? So listen to what we have to say. Guns are bad. It never actually makes any attempt of connecting Dunblane with gun number 6, right? It is purely to play the sob story, to get people emotive and upset and willing to listen to about further restrictions on guns. Anyway, the whole article goes on about the number of times, like cases there's been so many cases. I think it's like 12 in total. but yeah, so that, you know, well, typical BBC, as we all know. Can't remember where I was going with that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I've got my screen share and the internet's stable that I lost my train of thought. It's really going well tonight, isn't it? What was I going to show? I was going to show you something. I've just given up. Just given up. Maybe somebody can take over for just take over for 5 minutes. Give me a break. What even was I saying? Couldn't have been that important, right? Just focus. Anyway, I got in contact with her. We had this back and forth. It was really actually quite productive. And she did initially say that she wasn't focused on lawful gun owners, but her long-term goals does say something initially. So this was the auto reply email that I got when I first contacted her. So, you know, this is, if you email her email address, so this is what you get, right? And again, this really sort of spurred me up. I thought I would give her the benefit of the doubt. Our long-term aim is to reduce the number of guns in a collection of weapons owned by an individual to just one per household. Again, please somebody show me where the correlation is between the amount of guns that people own on a firearm certificate and gun crime. There isn't any. And the fact that they're, you know, collection of weapons, right? I've never owned a weapon in my life, right? I've owned sporting equipment, you know, I've owned tools. Provide deeper background checks of a firearm certificate applicant. Like what, right? What more could you possibly do? They already do criminal record checks. They already talk to your GP. You have a face-to-face interview. You have to supply 2 references. Like, what more would you want there to be deeper, right? And remove information from the internet of how to make a firearm. Good luck with that one. Like, it's just never, like, once something's on the internet, it's on the internet. You are never getting that down. So yeah, I did engage with this person. Whilst they've said, I think, some pretty stupid things, their response, if genuine, was quite, I think, promising. It's quite promising, because they were like, look, I didn't actually have an idea about this. I'm very passionate about it. Was very heavily affected by Dunblane, as I'm sure many people were. Again, I think I said to her something along the lines of, look, your heart's in the right place. Look, even as a pro-gun person, I want to reduce gun crime, because it doesn't look good for us. Even the illegal stuff, even the people that smuggle guns in from abroad and going shoot someone, that, you know, any laws would not actually prevent them from doing that. You know, we still get smeared with that brush. For every gun death, it looks negatively on the shooting community. Every illegal firearm out there, it looks negative on the lawful shooting community. So we want to reduce gun crime, right? It would be perfect if there was no gun crime. It would actually give us a good argument to loosen things up a bit. Like, look, we've reached there, no gun crime. Let's bring back handguns, bring back semi-autos. Yeah, I spoke to her about it. She was, you know, very receptive. Sort of put her hands up and said, actually, look, from what you've said, I am, like, wasting my time with lawful firearms ownership. You know, you've laid out to me that actually there's no correlation between the lawful gun owners and the amount of firearms crime, and actually, really, if I really want to have an impact, it should be about knife crime. Whether or not she's being sincere in that, I don't know, but so far she's been very pleasant in the back and forth, and I really do think, as a community, we should be reaching out to people with like this. We should be engaging with them, because if this is all very now, like, genuine in her responses, this is potentially somebody that was in essence anti-gun. They're going to would have been spreading that anti-gun rhetoric, but by taking the time and engaging with them and speaking with them, they could actually be in a way an advocate, because if they meet up with other anti-gunners like the Gun Control Network and they start hearing the same things that she's been spouting about, lawful gun owners and restricting gun owners and restricting the amount of guns they can have, she may now be in a position to look up and go, actually, what's that going to achieve? It hasn't worked since the 1920s. Gun crime rose after the various further restrictions after Dunblane and Hungerford. 40% of all offences are committed with handguns. So we could have somebody out there in a way that could be actually quite a good advocate for legal gun ownership, and may in some way steer the rest of the antis into the actual problem, which are criminals, because criminals are always going to commit crime. That's sort of what they do. But yeah, I'm done. I'm absolutely fucking done. Like, it's the heat. The Mac can't take it. I can't take it. But yes, that was another big bit of news this evening. I'm definitely going to finish off and go and cry into a pillow. No, they could be killed at any moment. It doesn't stop people from doing it. It just arrests innocence. Good effort. You have a lot of patience. Thanks, Rich. I just don't have much patience with the Mac this evening. Great job. For the times you cannot avoid violence being inflicted on you, you are allowed to defend yourself with reasonable force. That seems to be like a different bit of a conversation. Captain Crack. I wonder if Caroline has a driving license. What does she do to prevent terror attacks like London Bridge attack? Has she contacted every car dealership in the UK and asked what they're going to do? Absolutely. And this is a thing, and this is what I think I have managed to hopefully get through to her, is that, look, the lawful element of firearms ownership is not your problem. We are not responsible for these gang style shootings. The majority of deaths attributed to legal ownerships are suicides, right? And yeah, you could say remove the guns, they can't shoot themselves. There's 1,000,001 ways to commit suicide, right? That's not the issue of the gun, that's an issue of mental health. And statistics continue to prove that there is no correlation between the legal firearms ownership in this country and the rate of crime. And actually, the numbers suggest that the further we restrict crime, the more the further we restrict the lawful owners, the more crime we have. Which is, again, bringing it back to the Mars and lever release, why I'm very interested to see how that progresses. And if I was a betting man, if William Hill would take a bet on this, I'd put 100 quid on it. There will be a day, like, my opinion is there will be an offence committed with a Mars or lever release by not an owner. Let's imagine that all of the guns are now handed in and they're now in police hands. I would put money on there at some point being a Mars or lever release used in crime. Right, we've already seen there was a Met officer that was taking guns out of the evidence locker and selling them on the black market. There's the story I've told a few times of the guy that handed in his handguns years later, got a knock on the door. The handgun had been used in a robbery, and they were like, "You didn't hand this in," and he had the receipt for the hand in. He was like, "No, you were the ones that lost it." Quickly, his case got dismissed. There have been a lot of cases of guns that were taken out of lawful gun owners' hands and then, unfortunately, through the police, fell into criminal hands. And I can see that happening with Mars, right? And again, as soon as that happens, it's like, what was the point, right? They'd been never used in crime beforehand. They're confiscated. They're then used in crime. So, of course, I'm not wishing for it. I really don't want to be proven right. But if William Hill would take a bet on it, I'd go put 100 quid on it. At some point happening. Statistics have actually shown that as FAC holders and guns owned legally has increased, firearms crime has decreased. So yeah, so there is a correlation. It's actually a positive or negative, whichever way you want to look at it. It's a good correlation. Correlation does not imply Caucasian, of course. It seems absolutely obscene that upstanding lawful citizens are not legally allowed to own any weapon for self-defense. A Glock in the hand is worth 100 coppers on the phone. Of course, we live in the UK, so it's even dubious whether we can actually discuss that topic. So moving on. But yeah, I before you all go, hit the like button. I know it's been an absolute can't even get my words out. Shambles of a stream with technical issues and mental issues. But I do really appreciate it. It's still been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to spend a lot of time cutting out the shite once it gets re-uploaded to YouTube. But yeah, no, I do really appreciate it. I need to go and cool down now and go and cry softly into my pillow. For any of you that's going to be at the level 3 Basildon mini rifle match, the Southern Area Championships, I think they're calling it. I'll be there along with Connors for the entire weekend. We're actually heading up to Basildon tomorrow night. I can't remember what squad. I'm in squad 1, which means I'm shooting the pre-match, so I'll be shooting it on the Saturday. Sorry, Daniel. We were going to join your squad, and then just because I need to be able to film Team Magload members on the Sunday and film the match, I needed to shoot the Saturday instead, which means I'll be able to get lots of footage of your lovely face running up and down the range. So yes, I'll be there in Basildon. If any of you guys are there, come and say hi, come and say hello. You will most definitely see us. I'm losing it. If any of you guys want anything delivered from Magload, if you want to place an order, if you want stuff for the weekend or for that match and you're going to be there, drop us an email, info@magload.co.uk, and we can deliver it. You can save on postage. We can work something out. But yes, blame the Prosecco. It's really, for once, it is not the alcohol. But it is definitely the heat. But there we go, guys. Have an awesome weekend, whatever you get up to shooting wise, and I hope you do, because you should shoot every single week at bare minimum. I hope you have a good one. I'll be releasing hopefully at least one video from the match, so you will get to see that. But thanks for joining. Thanks everyone who placed donations. Again, if you want to further support the channel, head over to EnglishShooting.org, where you can pick up some lovely merch. But yeah, have a great weekend, have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday. Actually, no, we won't. I'm having to move the live stream date. This is really not going well. I have to move the live stream date for next week, Thursday. I'm busy all evening. It will either be Tuesday or Friday, maybe Saturday. But follow the English Shooting Facebook page, or keep an eye out on the channel. I will try and get the schedule of that done as quickly as possible to give everyone as much prior warning as possible. But yeah, it won't be on a Thursday next week, unfortunately. It will be moved to a different date, but keep posted. Look on Facebook, look on the channel, and you'll see when it is. But there we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you putting up with all the issues this evening, and of course, of always, I hope to see you soon.